What's up, you absolutely wonderful Magento loving friends of mine? Joseph from SwiftOtter here with, you guessed it, another answer to this question. Now, this one is going to be interesting because it's not just a straight up right-wrong answer. There's actually some interesting nuance. And I want to break up nuance apart just because this helps refine us and sharpen us. And I want to make a quick call out to the answers that you all posted in the comments to these questions. Really well done. Well done. Great answers. I love the reasoning. In fact, I think the reasoning is probably the biggest value that you can get out of this. You put your own reasoning down. You listen to my reasoning, see if you agree. You learn from it. Maybe it's a new approach, a different idea. I learned from your reasoning. And so it's a great way to help all of us in this community sharpen one another to become better at this craft in our career that we have undertaken. But before we jump in, I would like to invite you to the 2023 Certification Challenge. Yes, it's going again, and I'm really excited, as always, about this year. It's going to be a good year. We're going to get a lot of people certified, and if you haven't already, make sure to go to SwiftOtter.com to sign up. Really looking forward to getting this kicked off here. Yeah, a week from today. So we're gonna be diving in a week from today. I look forward to having your attendance in this challenge. But more than your attendance, which that doesn't benefit me at all, your certification. Which does that benefit me? No, not personally, but it sure makes my job worthwhile when I see all of you get certified. That makes me really, really happy. Continuing on here. Let's take a look at our excellent answers. And I basically gave everyone a heart. I didn't see anyone choose the one answer that I know was wrong, or like it would still work, yes, but it was less than ideal. So well done. Great answers. I was really happy to see this. And you might see some more of this type of less correct or a little more nuanced answers coming out, questions coming out from me, simply because I want you to be able to understand some of these additional real-world situations, which, again, there is often not just a one right answer. So what's this question I'm talking about? Let's dive in and see what this is. You are working with a company that sells gold, silver, and platinum. The price of these metals change every minute. Product prices include the base gold price as well as a premium for the company. This is a really important phrase here. So the product prices include the base gold or metal price, as well as a premium for the company. So technically speaking, this price that changes every minute could be the same across the board, right? So if we're selling gold coins, for example, that price for that gold is going to be the same no matter what gold you choose. However, it might be the premium, that amount on top of it that the company makes as their profit, might actually be what changes per product. So we have a portion of the product price that changes every minute, and then we have a portion of the product price that is actually fixed. And so this is ultimately a very unique pricing situation. But let's keep moving on here. The mechanism to retrieve the gold, silver, and platinum prices has already been built. Great, we don't have to do that. You are tasked with providing a connection so the front end can reflect these new prices. So this is a little bit more on the back end developer side. So the front end hasn't yet necessarily built this out, but this is a very important link in this chain, because if we don't have updated pricing information, the front end can't do anything with it. So us back end people have a little more work to do before we dive in on the front end here. Question: how would you build this, and why would you choose this? So we have a couple of options here, 3 to be very specific. A, controller with front full page caching, static file with JSON pricing, and C, get API request. I would say A right out of the gate is just the least. Yes, it would work, but it's the least ideal. And technically speaking, you could you could use a mechanism to clear the full page cache every time that this is updated, or maybe once a minute, or there are some options there, but this seems really kludgy. And so I would recommend against this. Using a controller to return JSON information in almost any situation is just flat out wrong. We should be using API requests. That's built out. It has a whole bunch of features. For example, using ACL in addition there. So yeah, there's a lot of features in the API. Well, I guess the other thing is you don't have to like serialize or convert from objects over to the API like Magento does or over to JSON. Magento does all of that. I mean, so again, there's a lot of value and stability that comes with that, because as soon as you're trying to serialize or deserialize JSON objects, you're probably going to be running into some weird bugs. Save yourself time and energy and just use an API request. Now, here was my thinking on this, though. Could it be that a static file with JSON pricing is actually the best idea? Think of it this way. We have, let's say this is a really large website. Performance is crucial. And I think we would all agree that we try to think a couple steps down the road when we're architecting solutions or building them out. And I say use the word architecture loosely because that kind of can be scary to a lot of us. And we think, oh, well, I don't want to be an architect. But in reality, you're an architect even at a lesser level than like someone with an architect title, but you're still an architect. I mean, there's only so much technical description that can be built out. And again, for some companies, it's literally not even built out. So you have to kind of design your own solution regardless. So at the end of the day, you are going to be an architect of sorts. Might be just in smaller ways, but you're still an architect. You have to make these decisions. So in this case, we have to think a couple steps down the road. Let's actually start with option C. And while this will work, and this will work fine, let's look at this in context of how this will be used in Call It Reality. We are going to have API requests triggered every minute, and let's say this website has some significant traffic, and we have to design for worst case scenario. Let's say that they have this big massive rush. They do a TV campaign or whatever, like would spawn a whole bunch of people purchasing, and they end up needing they have like, let's say 5,000 people on the site at the same time looking to purchase some precious metals. Well, you could have 5,000 GET API requests hitting the server at the same time. Now, depending on how caching works on the back end, it might not be a whole bunch of CPU utilization, but we still have 5,000 requests every minute that are hitting the server that are uncached. And that's a lot. It could be actually more than that. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, or at the end of the day, if it's a smaller website, this probably would be fine. It wouldn't matter. However, my proposal with the static file with JSON pricing, I feel like this is the best option. This is just my opinion, and I would love to hear your opinion as well. Here's why I'm saying this. Static file basically requires almost no server assets. In fact, you could probably combine that with full page caching or some mechanism like that. You have to probably have it busted through through your web application firewall or your front end, your caching mechanism there. But you're like Cloudflare. But at the end of the day, you can serving up a static file requires like no energy, no time. Like it's super, super fast. And here's the thing. If you write out to that file once a minute and then it's downloaded from there, basically no impact to server resources almost at all. It's almost infinitely scalable. And depending on how you work it, you could even flush caches once a minute. That's a little more dicey. But the static file with JSON pricing. Now, let me show you this. Here, this is just some brainstorming on my end. But let me just show you this. We have here, would be the JSON file that I would be thinking of. So we would have the time that this is written out, and we would have the prices at this specific time. Now, this would be obviously in UTC, very important to remember that. But at the end of the day, we would store maybe an hour or maybe a day of worth of information in here. And you see this is not a huge amount. Maybe a day would be excessive, maybe 4 or 5 hours, something like that. But the idea is we have the timestamp that this is then added to the cart. That timestamp is then translated up to the cart. So we're synchronizing that. And we have this file that we can use as a lookup. Now, might not use this exact file. We might use the database, something along those lines. But we are able to then track the exact price at the exact minute, synchronize it to the front end and the back end. Again, we're hitting a flat file. very little to almost no server resources, etc. Again, the problem with the GET API request is, while yes, from a technical standpoint, that is an ideal approach, we might find it start breaking down when we start load testing this system. So the static file might be the best approach overall. Yeah, so that's my thinking on this, and I welcome your thoughts, your opinions on this. If you somehow believe something is different on this, then again, this is just my opinion. This is how I would design it. I loved seeing how you all would design it from your perspective. So this is another thought, and I hope that this sharpens your opinions and your thought process if you do find this helpful. And if you don't, feel free to sound off on a comment. I always enjoy reading those, hearing those, and learning from how I can improve myself as well in my career here. Take care, and we will see you next week.